is April 23rd, and this is what's growing in my garden right now, here in Zone 5. Looks like the tulips are pretty near done for the year. I transplanted this lupine here from out back where it had been started from seed, and it doesn't even know it's been transplanted. Look at this, all this new growth coming on. It seems to be doing really well. The tulips are about done. I need to go down and start cutting off the blooms of the ones that are dead. They start getting brown all over them. These, and losing the petals. This is the way that they keep to make them multiply. All tulips need is nice fertile soil, and when they're done blooming, cut off the blooms and leave the foliage to naturally go brown into the middle of summer, and this builds up extra energy or food or whatever you want to call it in the bulb to make it multiply and bloom next year. This is some bee balm I planted over here because where I had it before it was too big for that place. I got so many things growing in here I can't tell what they all are. I don't even know what that is, it's just coming up. And this is a bush. I had a bush over here but I forgot what it is. These are peonies over here. They look strange, but I'm pretty sure those are peonies. Soon as these crocuses are done blooming, I'm gonna come back here and pull up the grass, but you can't tell which is which right now. So if you try to pull up the grass, you'd end up pulling the crocuses up. And that's because last winter I had her feeder right here in the center, bird feeder. So I've learned my lesson, never ever put bird feeders in the flower bed again. Too much trouble pulling up all the grass. Here's an example of a tulip which needs to be cut down. This area right here is where the seeds are made, and growing all those seeds takes up a lot of energy from the bulb, and so therefore you want to cut this off, and that tells your tulip to make another bulb, not more seeds, because the seeds will not grow. And this is a yellow dogwood bush, and I keep cutting it down every year so that it doesn't get so big and overpower the flower bed. Here is a Solomon's seal that I transplanted here, and somebody gave me some of this. I transplanted it out back because it was in the middle of July and I was afraid it would never make it, but I transplanted one of them here too. Look at it, it's made 3 of them, but I transplanted it right here in the middle of July, and it's just growing great and getting ready to bloom, as you can see. And look right here, this is winter alkanite, and it's done blooming, but look how big these leaves are and getting ready for next year. They'll die to the ground here pretty soon. They bloom only early in the spring. Those nice yellow flowers. Oh, and this is columbine. I also transplanted this up here in front from where I had started it from seed out back. And I gave it plenty of organic material when I put it up here. My mulch or organic material, whatever you want to call it, is a mixture of bark chips and grass clippings. And if I pull up weeds, I take a handful of a clump of grass or weeds, whatever it is, and throw it in there with it. And I have a tumbler that mixes it all up and leave it there till I'm ready to use it. And I don't worry about it composting. Here's another sample of it. And you can see right in here, this is from our paper shredder. You can put shredded paper in there. You shouldn't put the colored ink because it's got lead in it, but you can use the black and white printing ink. There's a bigger piece. And here is coral bells I bought in a pot and planted it here yesterday. And here's the leaves on coral bells, and we'll see how that works out. I kind of like coral bells. And here's another example of a tulip with all the leaves that fell off, or the flower petals that fell off of it. So I need to come out here and cut this off right there. And this is bird in the bush, or crested lark. It's all done blooming, as you can see. So you want to leave it okay. Don't mess with it until the foliage dies back, so that it comes back again next year. And you can see these peonies here are getting ready to bloom. Right there. A lot of times I don't much care for some of these peonies. There's one peony I have that I like, but you can't tell it until it starts blooming. So if this blooms, and you can already see there's an ant growing on there, and if it blooms and it's the one I don't like, I just cut it to the ground, hoping that keeps it from spreading. This little light colored thing is dichondra that I planted here from a flower pot several years back, and it's all over the place. It keeps coming up everywhere. This is creeping Jenny. I don't always pull up all of that. It's got the little purple flowers right now. You can see some of those purple flowers in here. There are some things I sort of let grow, but not too much. Like African violets. I kind of like those. But this here is a oak leaf hydrangea, and I didn't much care for it, so I just keep cutting it to the ground every year. Let it grow back. This is a hardy lily that's coming up, and you can see how many times it's multiplied. And there's another bush here I cut back, and I can't tell what it is, but I'll know if it blooms or something. I think it might be a butterfly bush, but I'm not sure. And here's another peony, and here's some catmint. It's not blooming yet. And here is a geranium. This is a true geranium, or crane's bell geranium. It has nice blue flowers that cover this whole area. It's kind of competing with all this other stuff in there, like these daylilies. Daylilies are another thing that you have to keep cutting back, or they'll take over and crowd everything else out. Kind of like this creeping Jenny in here. You just have to pull it up every now and then so don't crowd everything else. I planted this yesterday. It's some more creeping phlox, just like these right here. I should have got the darker color, but it'd be nice to fill in this whole area here eventually. And this is yarrow cerise queen. It's got a nice red crested flower. This is loosestrife right there. It's got tall purple flowers, and I just planted this here yesterday. It's English lavender, and I was thinking this is a really sunny area, but I was thinking it'd be nice to have a whole row of it here so that when you walked by and brushed up against it when it was blooming. You can see I've planted this loosestrife everywhere. And here is some more of that bee balm I planted in there. And these are irises in there mixed with the daylilies. I should just stick my shovel right in the middle of those daylilies and then throw it on the compost pile so I don't get too many of them crowding everything else out. Here's a hyacinth. It's pretty near done blooming. Here is a lily, a regal lily. Has tall or long white trumpets they're very sweetly scented, and actually the blooms are so heavy that this thing keeps falling over. I hate staking up my plants, but it looks like it's got a little offset over here. Look at that. I'll have to look up the name of this. I can't remember it right now. I remember it's a native of South Africa, and it's named after the guy who found it, but I can't remember what that is. And here's some more hardy lilies being crowded out by the daylilies. Here's one of those blue salvias I planted yesterday, but I got too close to the driveway. I hate to dig it up and put it more into there, but I don't know what I was thinking. Wasn't paying attention, I guess. And this is more of that loosestrife I've planted out here. And this is penstemon. These are tall garden phlox right in here. I planted both of those things a couple of years back. These here and here are dwarf cherry bushes. I think they're actually the same plant that I planted here a few years back. As you can see, I've planted that loosestrife everywhere. It's a nice plant, and it's easy to just dig it up and divide it. Here's one of those things I planted. I no longer know what it is. Maybe when it blooms I'll know. What was this? I was thinking when I planted this it was coral bells, but it doesn't look the same as the other coral bells I have. There's some more of that crested lark in there. And this is a wildflower. I have to keep cutting it out. It's got kind of black-eyed Susan-like flowers, but it gets too tall and starts looking too weedy, so I just cut it off. You have to cut it off with the ground, because if you cut it off any higher than that, it just starts forking out into two of them. Oh, my sweet William is growing. Yesterday, this is dianthus. It's a close relation to the sweet William, I think. But it's got those nice flowers that people used to put in their buttonholes if they wear a sport coat. And this here is lamium. It's a different variety. I've got the yellow flower, and this is the purple flowered lamium. And this is that geranium, crane-spilled geranium. When this Sweet Williams starts getting big enough, I'll divide it and plant it somewhere else. I'll start having it everywhere too, I hope. And these are poppies that are coming up. And this is that yellow flowered lamium. Here's some more of that yellow flowered lamium. And there's more of it down in there. Here is Grecian windflowers. This here, I'm not sure of the name of it. It's one of those bulbs I got from Brex in those mixtures. There's a poppy growing in there. It needs to get a bit bigger before it blooms. This is kind of a bush I planted in there. It's woody, but it doesn't grow much above the ground. I planted that several years ago and it just keeps growing away in there. And here's a fern. You can see how it kind of rolls up from the ground. Those can be knee high. And this is one of those Solomon seals I planted in here. I transplanted it from out back where it's been growing since I bought it or got it. It was given to me. Oh, and the bluebells are blooming. Here's a sweetheart or bleeding heart that is not very big yet. But look at these bluebells. These are Virginia bluebells. I just love them. Here's more. They're growing all in through here. Looks like that one's almost done. There's more in here. Hopefully it'd be nice after a few years they just fill in this whole area. I'm thinking what I'm going to start doing is start coming out and putting mulch around some of these plants that I really like. Like here's a trillium. It's been here for a few years, but it's probably having a hard time keeping up with this vinca, which is another one of those plants that crowds everything out. And here is a columbine that probably having a hard time competing with all the vinca minor. This is another bleeding heart over here, just getting ready to bloom. I need to come out here and these are honeysuckle bushes like that one there. It drops seeds everywhere, so I need to come out and dig them up. Here's a tulip that's nearly done blooming. It's in the middle of all this lamium. It's everywhere too. See that? Yeah, it's everywhere. And here is another coral bells. It's not blooming yet. I used to have a chocolate vine in here, and I took out the chair it was growing on, and it grew back. I cut it down because I didn't think the blooms were that significant. It was no big deal. So here's my Lenten rose. It's been blooming now for a good month anyway. It's got these nice flowers, and there's tons of them on here. It just doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. You can see how big it's getting. It's just one of the ones I bought. I don't know whether it's Brex or some other place. And here's some ferns. They'll get taller than this. You can see them in there rolling up. These are here's another vine. I'm not sure what it is. It keeps trying to grow in the air conditioner. And this year I've cut down all the bushes and things that were in there. Been in there for years, not doing anything. And I'm going to spade this up and make it into a nice little flower bed for starting seeds. And I used to have strawberries over here, but the you can see the strawberries down in there blooming. So I'm going to start a bunch of flower seeds in here this year. Still not time. Right here in Zone 5, you really can't be starting flower seeds till May 15th or so. You can be sure after then there'll be no frost. I might dig up some of these ferns and put them somewhere else. Get them everywhere. Here's the bloom of one of those chocolate vines. So I mean, it's just kind of insignificant. It's supposed to smell like chocolate, but I don't think so. I need to have production in all my space here because I don't have that much. So I don't have room for things that don't do anything. Plants got to earn their keep. Like this tulip here. Tulips don't take up a lot of space either. Here's Kansas Gayflower just coming up out of the ground. It has, it'd be about knee high or waist high with purple spikes on the plant. And it gets a lot of sun here, and I think it likes that full sun. And this is trumpet vine. You can see it starting to grow right here. Right here. We'll probably cut this vine off and only use the ones that are on the swing here. Look at all the way up there, they're all growing. This is a rose I bought yesterday. I bet it was at Walmart, I'm not sure, but I'm sure hope it's going to grow. It doesn't look too good. Looks like it had some new growth at one time and it died. So they call it bare root rose because it's one of the ones that's in a bag and has nothing but peat moss or something in the bag. So we'll see. I really gave it a good watering. I dug up all this seed and divided it up everywhere. Lots of different kinds. They were all growing together. And these are poppies that are all getting ready to bloom. They'll be blooming here pretty soon. Then they'll go dormant for the rest of the summer. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and if you like that at all, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much. Bye.